What is an adult problem that nobody prepared you for? Having to not only make important decisions by myself, I expected that much, but also having to do so in a timely fashion uninhibited by indecision. Deciding what's for dinner every night for the rest of my life. How much time you spend just doing stuff. Oh, need to replace my tire and that's over by the store. So while I replace the tire I can do some errands and I'll save time and be home in no time. 3 hours later. Okay, just one more errand before I head home. Also, how putting off a small task just a couple days in a row can quickly amount to a longer chore, responsibility later. I can just leave this in the sink. Get to it later before bed, x 2 days. Why is this grime caked onto this plate still? I've been scrubbing for 10 minutes straight. Aging parents. The combo between lack of income and plenty of debt. That you see the dead body of a parent one day and have to be next to the desperate surviving parent and try to comfort while you're desperate yourself. All the laundry. Good grief, does it pile up? Being sick and having to care for yourself. Like when you were younger, your parents would get the medicine, or the medicine cabinet would just be stocked all the time, etc. But here I am with a cold, having to build up the energy to go to the supermarket to buy some aspirin and throat lozenges all by myself. Controlling your finances. Asterisk everything asterisk I have learned about budgeting, debt recovery, pensions, saving, and wise purchases I have had to learn for myself. A lack of community. Growing up, you have your elementary school. Each day you see your friends and participate in activities together. Sometimes they move away and sometimes you do, but it largely stays the same through high school and middle school. Flash forward to adulthood and you're just alone. You want to make friends IRL, but have no idea how to go about doing it without seeming creepy, desperate, or God knows what. This is really hard when you are not overtly religious, so you cannot join a religious community. My friend and I talk about this from time to time. It's arguably the hardest thing to deal with in life. It gets worse the longer you live. As you know, you are outliving your generation. The endless cleaning. I had chores when I was a kid, but I had zero clue how much actual work went into keeping house. I cleaned my house this morning and by midweek it'll be a war zone of pet hair, crumbs, and dust. I don't even have kids. WTF, it's like the underpants gnomes show up when I'm asleep and fuck my house up. You telling me I gotta make food every day, often multiple times a day just to stay alive? The death of the elder family and your rising name on that list. I was just ruminating earlier today with my station. It feels like I was 20 just yesterday, but then suddenly I have an adult daughter. I've buried grandparents and a parent, and now more voices turn to me than I can turn to myself. You can go days on end without having to speak to a single person. At first it's a dream come true. After about 2 months you start talking to your toaster to pad the silence while waiting for your toast. Making important life decisions. When you're young you have a safety net, but when you're an adult you're taking on risk that can influence successive years of your life. Same goes for single versus family. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Basic home maintenance. When to change air filters, smoke alarm batteries. Timing of lawn care. How often do you clean the gutters? Are you supposed to clean under the stove? What is edging? How do you recycle? How to change locks, etc. That all those big things you thought you'd have time to do when you're older often become physically impossible to do when you're older, even if you have the time. No one helping you. How much harder it is to make friends. I kinda feel like if you hadn't already made some good friends by 25 to 26, you'll end up stuck with superficial friendships. Having to figure out what to eat 3 times a day. I am still confused AF. I thought adults had their shit together. Chronic back pain with no drugs that can help. The existential horror of being in a dead-end job with a horrible boss but can't afford to quit because you'll starve. Edit. Whoa. Just so you know guys, I'm better now. I left the job I didn't like and I enjoy my work now. Also, as some of you suggested, I've been doing my master's concurrently. I am working towards my dream job in a university. Vegetables die too soon in the fridge. How depressing and mundane working 40+ hours per week for 30+ years is. The mental load of remembering everything that needs to be done, and project managing it all. House repairs, improvements, finances, cleaning, laundry, bills, hiring people to do things, trips to the vet for vaccines, groceries, car maintenance, and the list goes on. It takes up too much room in my head. How much every injury you had as a kid didn't really heal. It just lay dormant until you woke up on your 38th birthday. Now it hurts all the time. How hard it is to make, keep friends. Don't even get me started on relationships. Edit. Thank you for all the awards. How fucking lonely you can be. Being tired all the fucking time. Being absolutely exhausted most of the time. I never thought I'd be the I hate everyone guy. But I am, and everyone can *CK off. Edit. Thank you for the love. Office politics. Edit. This is the way. Having to put up with so much crap from people in higher positions even though they're less competent than you. Because you need that paycheck. And as you get older, sometimes life circumstances trap you there. How uneducated people are. Like, the complete lack of reasoning and critical thinking is astonishing. You can't even have a proper conversation with some people because they make up their minds and the conversation is over. Back pain. People still being bullies way past high school. Being sued by the guy who crashed into ME from behind. Wow. Okay. Edit. My wife doesn't want a dashcam, but I'm gonna get some eventually. It's great advice. We've had other accidents since, but that was the most consequential. However, the accident was in 1980, so not something I could have prepared for. So, story time? It was the night before Thanksgiving and I was giving a friend a ride home from his gas station job. We were approaching their driveway. My former housemates had a rented house, a left turn, and there was a car coming toward us around the curve. Unlit 2-lane country road. Just past that, so I stopped in front of the drive to let him go by. I saw his lights, but I couldn't tell how fast he was coming. Then I see high beams in the mirror, 4 headlights, coming fast. I try for the driveway because I still have a second. I pop the clutch and turn the wheel, but I'm driving a 71 VW camper with a 45 horsepower engine, so it's not like I'm burning rubber. Meanwhile, the guy behind me actually tried to pass, going at least 60 to 70 in a 55, saw the oncoming car, and tried to pass me on the right, but there was a guardrail right there because of a culvert or something, and he tried to wedge his car between us. So I get my van to about a 45 DEG angle and he catches my right rear corner. I wind up rolling into the ditch on the other side of the road and flipping into it, landing head up, facing the direction we came from. They took us to the nearby hospital to check us, and a cop gave me a ticket for not signaling a left turn. I told him I signaled, but I didn't see how I could prove it, so I didn't fight the ticket later. The hospital let us go and I'm still kicking myself for not demanding he get tested for alcohol. A month or so after paying the ticket, I find out he's suing ME for $100,000 for injuries. Not fighting a moving violation, it's NY state, lets him claim it was my fault. Should have gone to a lawyer, but I was good and broke at the time. See above. Not prepared. My insurance company got a lawyer, but I didn't get that he was working for them, not me. At the deposition a year later, he barely remembered what happened in the accident and couldn't prove pain and suffering, but they didn't even try to shoot down his claims. Finally, before the trial date 2 years later, they settle for $5,000. My policy said they could only penalize me a little bit if they had to pay out less than $50,000, so it was minimal except that I only had liability, so I was out the cost of an old van. Should have sued him, but young and inexperienced and just wanted to move on. In fact, a friend had an almost identical 71 camper and was selling it right then, so I bought that. The actual conclusion: 5 months after the settlement, he ran off the road and died. So I regret 2 main things: giving the oncoming car too much time, and not getting a lawyer to fight the ticket and go after him for the cost. By the way, the guy was a local business, dry cleaner, owner, and his store was right next to the station of the trooper that gave me the ticket. The disillusion that comes with realizing your parents had no actual clue what they were doing 86% of the time whilst raising you. Getting old ain't for sissies. Can confirm, age 80. Enjoy your youth, kids, it's fleeting. If you don't love yourself as a teen, you're gonna have a fucking blast trying to learn it as an adult while supporting yourself. I wish I had tried harder as a teen to understand myself instead of drowning my emotions in wow. Definitely not quicksand and piranhas, all tell you that. The childishness of other adults. The number of decisions I have to make. As a kid, you never have a lot of choice in what's for dinner, what to do on the weekend, where you live, your household income, what to do when your vehicle makes a funny noise, etc. Now that I have to look after all those things, I just wish someone would come along and tell me what to do half the time. Always having to be on. At work you need to meet goals and be on. At home with your kids you need to be on. With your spouse you need to be on. I'm very fortunate that my wife and I can just sit and veg in complete silence for hours. And nobody is internally freaking out. Parents aren't immortal. Careers. As a kid you hear, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And it's always, nurse, doctor, fireman, game designer, etc. Which is all so simple. But then when you do start training, working in that career and you realize you don't like it, it just feels like such a terrifying thing to now have to think of a new career identity. I'm pretty sure most of us spend a lot of time working through this, crap, my career isn't viable. What do I do? And come to the conclusion that yeah, it actually does make you more sane working in a shop or whatever, than going home at night having paid the bills and not stressing. It's the realization that really takes time. I'm not sure when I will start feeling like an adult. I'm 40, married, and own a house. But I don't feel like an adult. Maybe there's a checklist or a guidebook I can read or something. The adult problems that you can't be prepared for. Committing your sister to a mental hospital, choosing to respect your mother's do not resuscitate when she stops breathing in the lazy boy watching Price is Right. Leaving your sibling in the homeless situation they've chosen because you've run out of options to try and help them and are now just hurting yourself. Becoming the financial anchor of your family because your father has been convicted of federal charges and is going to be in prison for 20 years. Life is real, and it will find you. No matter who you are, your parents get old, people get sick. You end up becoming the decider of things no human should be burdened with. From a 16-year-old reading this thread. Fuck. Stupid people are everywhere. As kids we are taught, in everything. Books, movies, cartoons, whatever. It's good versus evil. Almost every story, small or large. There are good people and there are bad people. As you get older you learn there are gray areas to that. Shades of good and bad. One thing I've learned in the last 10 years or so is how many stupid people are out there. And that some of what could be seen as evil, or bad, isn't someone being a villain. They might just be fucking dumb. You know that saying, there's always one in a crowd. I'm starting to see it's more like, there's always about a third in a crowd. Having serious philosophical, religious, political disagreements with family. Alcoholism, depression, lack of hope. Just to name a few. That depression doesn't go away after teenage hormones subside. Fearing getting sick and not having enough sick days, causing me to lose my job and the insurance that would have helped me get better from being sick. And related, wondering why I lose so much of my paycheck to health insurance but then having to pay out of pocket and never hitting the maximum where my insurance actually pays anything. I didn't prepare myself of the fact that I might actually make it this far. Anus hair. The incessant flow of bills. Phone, water, electricity, insurance, rent, mortgage, also, college debt. Oh, and dental care. Kurt Vonnegut had it right when he said the trouble with getting older is you outlive your teeth. Friendship as an adult sucks. Especially as a single, childless woman of 30. Mean girls don't end after high school. If anything, they get worse. Normal. Housing becoming a luxury and designed for two people to split the bills. How is this normal? People used to live in households where the wife didn't work and raised 3 kids on a single income. I make $50,000 a year and can't afford to live on my own. Worry. Are the kids okay? Their grades, job, mental health? Can we make that bill this month? Is the dog getting sick? Is that a lump I should worry about? Is mom recovering from her fall? Did I remember to send flowers for the Mills' birthday? It never ends. Witnessing the cognitive and physical degradation of my parents in real time. Being alone. How much time is spent cleaning and doing laundry? And I live alone. Dealing and taking care of your parents when they get older. Bills. They can suck the air right out of a room, plus they come every single month. Having the energy to do any of your hobbies after taking care of the things that help you survive. Spending hours on the phone arguing with insurance companies, cell phone companies, telecom companies, student loan companies when they mischarge you. The inevitably of your parents dying. My dad just passed away and I'm 25. No one could have prepared me, I guess. Just the daily fucking grind of it all. It's never ending. The American work-life balance is the worst. Having to be the one to plan one of your parents' funerals. My mom passed unexpectedly when she was 45. Not a responsibility I ever expected to happen when I was 25. Having to do shit even though you're poorly, slept badly, not in the mood. Mental health disorders and productivity. I spent my whole HS and uni years doing my bare minimum to have a good curriculum and then discovered that my shitty time habits wouldn't work in adultland. Eye floaters with no solution in sight. Hitting 50 and still not knowing what I want to do when I grow up. One-on-one confrontations. I have posted this before, but I was not prepared for making the sensible, right decision my whole life and still have everything fall apart. Lost my job, husband left, became a single parent, had major surgery, entered a pandemic, and had all 3 of my kids develop significant mental health issues. I can afford all the delicious food, too much food, somebody stop me please. The fact that you don't magically become an adult when you turn 18. I'm still wrestling with that problem, actually. When to call a repairman and when you can amateurly fix it yourself. The isolation of being a single dad. Single parents don't have a fallback. Someone to carry the load for a couple minutes while you decompress and jump back in the fray. When you're one deep, there is no break. When you're not at work, you're at home. There is no going out, getting away, dating or adult time. I'm rural and don't have family or a sitter for my boys, so it's all on me. The realization that $1,000 is not a lot of money to have, but it is a lot of money to owe someone. Thanks for watching. See you later.